Hollywood is the land of dreams, where stars are born, legends are made, and fortunes can change overnight. But behind the flashing lights and red carpets lies a darker truth. Fame doesn't always last forever. Some actors who once ruled the big screen have completely disappeared, never to be cast in major roles again. Was it scandal? Was it personal downfall? Or was it simply Hollywood turning its back? Today, we're uncovering the shocking stories of stars whose careers came crashing down. From Oscar winners who threw it all away, to childhood icons whose innocent image couldn't survive adulthood, and even fan favorites who made one mistake too big to forgive. These are the celebrities you will never see in Hollywood again. And trust me, some of the names on this list will leave you speechless. Number 1. Orlando Brown. Orlando Brown was once the shining face of Disney Channel, winning hearts as Eddie Thomas on That's So Raven. With his charm, comedic timing, and musical talent, he looked destined for a long and successful Hollywood career. Fans adored him, and for a while it seemed like Orlando was unstoppable. But the glitz of early fame hid a darker story that was about to unfold. Hollywood eventually turned its back on Brown, and the reason was simple. He became too unpredictable. Casting directors want stars they can trust on set, but Orlando's name grew more associated with chaos than entertainment. His struggles with addiction, bizarre public appearances, and repeated run-ins with the law made him a liability no studio wanted to risk. The blunders that sank his career are countless. Arrests for drug possession, DUIs, and even domestic violence charges. Add to that his shocking public rants, erratic interviews, and disturbing behavior that often went viral, and Orlando's image quickly shifted from beloved child star to tabloid spectacle. Despite his efforts to change and rebuild his life, those mistakes created a shadow so heavy that Hollywood isn't willing to give him another chance. Number 2. Stacey Dash. Stacey Dash was once the picture of beauty and charm in Hollywood. She stole the spotlight in the 1995 cult classic Clueless, becoming an instant style icon and a fan favorite. With her sharp looks and natural screen presence, it seemed like Stacey was set to enjoy a long and glamorous career in film and television. But Hollywood fame can vanish as quickly as it arrives, and for Stacey, it didn't take long before her career began to crumble. Her downfall wasn't caused by bad acting or a lack of roles. Stacey's exile from Hollywood came from controversy. The industry branded her as too toxic to touch, and soon the offers that once filled her calendar dried up completely. In an industry where image is everything, her outspoken behavior made her untouchable, no matter how talented she was. The blunders that sank her career are unforgettable. Stacey publicly criticized Black History Month, openly dismissed the Tackert Oscars So White movement, and made divisive comments on live television that alienated a large part of her audience. Add to that her highly controversial political stances on Fox News, and she quickly went from beloved actress to polarizing figure. By the time she tried to walk back her statements, the damage was already done. Hollywood had closed its doors on her for good. Number 3. Jussie Smollett. Jussie Smollett was once one of television's brightest rising stars. As Jamal Lyon on the hit series Empire, he not only showcased incredible acting skills, but also broke ground as an openly gay Black actor in a leading role. With his voice, his talent, and his charisma, Jussie was well on his way to becoming a household name far beyond the small screen. But in Hollywood, one scandal can erase years of hard work, and Jussie learned that lesson the hard way. His fall from grace was swift and brutal. After making headlines for claiming to be the victim of a hate crime, investigators uncovered shocking details that pointed to the attack being staged. What could have been a moment of courage and resilience turned into one of the biggest controversies in Hollywood. Suddenly, the industry that once embraced him wanted nothing to do with him. His reputation became a liability, and networks and studios quietly backed away. The blunders that destroyed his career were both public and unforgettable. Staging an attack not only shattered trust with fans, but also made him a symbol of scandal across the entertainment world. His conviction only deepened the damage, leaving casting directors unwilling to take the risk of bringing him back. Even though Jussie continues to claim his innocence and fight for redemption, the stain of that incident has left him blacklisted in Hollywood, a fall few could have predicted at the height of his career. Number 4. Mo'Nique. Mo'Nique was once unstoppable. From her breakout as a stand-up comedian to her unforgettable role in Precious, which earned her the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress, she had the world at her feet. Audiences adored her sharp wit, raw honesty, and undeniable talent, and it seemed she was destined to become one of Hollywood's most in-demand stars. But what looked like the beginning of a golden era for Mo'Nique quickly turned into a cautionary tale. Instead of more roles and bigger opportunities, Mo'Nique found herself quietly pushed aside by the industry. Her refusal to follow Hollywood's unspoken rules, like doing unpaid press tours and bowing to powerful producers, led to her being labeled difficult. And in Hollywood, that label is the kiss of death. Studios and casting directors began to back away, and the phone that should have been ringing nonstop after her Oscar win fell silent. The blunders that cost Mo'Nique her career weren't about scandals in her personal life, but about standing up to the wrong people. She called out Oprah Winfrey, Tyler Perry, and Lee Daniels for blackballing her, and later sued Netflix for discrimination when they offered her far less than her peers. While many admired her courage, the industry saw her as a threat to the system. By challenging Hollywood's power players so openly, Mo'Nique shut the very doors her talent had once opened. Number 5. Terrence Howard. Terrence Howard once stood among Hollywood's brightest stars. With unforgettable performances in Hustle and Flow, Crash, and his breakout role as James Rhodey Rhodes in Marvel's Iron Man, Howard seemed destined to dominate both blockbusters and award-winning dramas. He had the talent, the charisma, and the roles that most actors dream of. But his career, once soaring, suddenly hit turbulence that he never fully recovered from. Instead of building on his early momentum, Howard's Hollywood journey stalled. Studios grew hesitant to cast him, and despite flashes of brilliance, like his role on Empire, his presence in big films gradually disappeared. Behind the scenes, he developed a reputation that made producers think twice. Hollywood thrives on consistency, and Howard became seen as a risk rather than a sure thing. The blunders that dragged down his career were a mix of personal and professional missteps. He reportedly clashed with Marvel executives over pay disputes, leading to his sudden replacement in the Iron Man franchise by Don Cheadle. Off-screen, he faced multiple lawsuits and allegations of domestic abuse, which further tarnished his image. These controversies, combined with a reputation for being difficult to work with, left Howard's once promising film career in ruins. Today, despite undeniable talent, he stands as another reminder of how quickly Hollywood can turn its back. Number 6. Taye Diggs. Taye Diggs was once the definition of smooth leading man energy. From his breakout role in How Stella Got Her Groove back to his unforgettable performances in The Best Man franchise and Rent, Diggs had both the acting chops and the charm to become one of Hollywood's go-to stars. For a time, he was everywhere: romantic comedies, dramas, even Broadway. But somewhere along the way, Hollywood's spotlight shifted, and Diggs found himself fading from the big screen. Instead of building on his early success, Taye Diggs slowly became less visible in Hollywood films. While he's kept busy with TV roles and stage performances, the big-budget movie offers that once seemed endless dried up. Hollywood's appetite for leading black men in romantic or dramatic roles narrowed, and Diggs got caught in that shift. The industry moved on to younger faces, and Taye's once promising film career quietly slowed to a crawl. The blunders that hurt his career weren't explosive scandals, but rather missteps that stalled his momentum. Some critics felt he was typecast, and his ventures into television, while steady, kept him away from blockbuster opportunities. On top of that, certain public comments, like controversial remarks about black women and race, sparked backlash that hurt his image with fans. While Diggs is far from forgotten, his career serves as proof that one or two wrong turns, combined with Hollywood's short memory, can push even the brightest stars out of the spotlight. Number 7. Wesley Snipes. Wesley Snipes was once one of Hollywood's most bankable stars. From his breakout in New Jack City to his legendary role as Blade, he dominated the 90s and early 2000s with a mix of action, charisma, and pure star power. At his peak, Snipes was pulling in blockbuster paychecks and standing shoulder to shoulder with the biggest names in the industry. But in Hollywood, one wrong move can turn a superstar into an outcast, and Wesley's fall was nothing short of dramatic. Instead of continuing his reign as an action icon, Snipes became one of the most high-profile actors to be pushed out of Hollywood's good graces. His career came to a screeching halt when legal troubles took center stage, and directors who once lined up to work with him suddenly vanished. The man who had carried franchises was suddenly left struggling to find roles. The blunders that cost Snipes his career are infamous. Most notably, he was convicted of tax evasion and actually served prison time, a scandal that made him untouchable in Hollywood for years. Reports of clashes on set, including claims of unprofessional behavior during the filming of Blade Trinity, only worsened his reputation. While he has made attempts at a comeback, including a role in Coming to America and indie films, Wesley Snipes' fall from action hero to Hollywood outsider remains one of the industry's most shocking downfalls. Number 8. Martin Lawrence. Martin Lawrence was once one of the biggest comedy stars in America. From his hit sitcom Martin to box office smashes like Bad Boys and Big Mama's House, he had the rare ability to dominate both television and film. Lawrence was at the top of his game in the 90s and early 2000s, beloved for his energy, quick wit, and larger-than-life characters. For a moment, it looked like Martin Lawrence could do no wrong. But Hollywood can turn on even its brightest stars, and Martin's career suddenly lost momentum. As the years went by, Martin Lawrence's presence in Hollywood began to shrink. While he occasionally resurfaced with projects, studios stopped offering him the kind of major roles that once made him a household name. The industry that once couldn't get enough of him now seemed hesitant, and his star power dimmed considerably. The blunders that helped derail his career ranged from personal troubles to public meltdowns. He had several highly publicized health scares, including a collapse from exhaustion that sparked rumors about drug use. His erratic behavior in the 90s made headlines, and clashes behind the scenes reportedly gave him a reputation as difficult to work with. Combined with a string of box office disappointments later in his career, these missteps chipped away at his standing in Hollywood. Although he reunited with Will Smith for Bad Boys for Life, the Martin Lawrence who once dominated Hollywood has never fully reclaimed his throne. Number 9. Cuba Gooding Jr. Cuba Gooding Jr. was once on top of the world. After electrifying audiences in Boys and the Hood and stealing the spotlight in Jerry Maguire, he earned an Academy Award and cemented himself as one of Hollywood's brightest young stars. With his charm, energy, and ability to bring raw emotion to the screen, Cuba looked destined for a long career filled with blockbuster roles and critical acclaim. But instead of rising higher, his career took a turn no one saw coming. In the years after his Oscar win, Cuba's career began to falter. The powerful, dramatic roles he deserved never came, and instead he found himself headlining comedies and direct-to-video films that failed to capture the magic of his earlier work. Hollywood quickly moved on. And while he popped back up in projects like American Crime Story, The Consistent, high-level roles had all but vanished. The blunders that destroyed his career went beyond poor role choices. Cuba was hit with multiple allegations of sexual misconduct, with dozens of women coming forward to accuse him of inappropriate behavior. These scandals stained his reputation and made him a risky name for studios. What should have been a story of one of the most promising actors of his generation turned into a cautionary tale about wasted potential, bad decisions, and scandals that Hollywood has no interest in forgiving. Number 10. Jada Pinkett Smith. Jada Pinkett Smith was once a powerhouse presence in Hollywood. From her breakout roles in Set It Off and The Nutty Professor to her unforgettable performance as Niobe in the Matrix franchise, Jada had both the talent and the charisma to command the screen. She wasn't just an actress. She was an icon of strength, beauty, and confidence. For years, audiences admired her versatility and feared nothing would slow down her career. But in recent times, her Hollywood shine has dimmed dramatically. Despite her success, Jada's acting career began to shift into the background. She took on fewer major roles and instead focused on projects like her Facebook series Red Table Talk. While the show was a hit online, it also opened the door to personal controversies spilling into the public eye. Hollywood, known for protecting its image, began distancing itself, and Jada's once dominant presence on the big screen became noticeably rare. The biggest blunder that overshadowed her career was the wave of scandals surrounding her personal life. From the infamous Oscars incident involving her husband Will Smith and Chris Rock to her public revelations about their marriage struggles, Jada became more of a tabloid fixture than a sought-after actress. The drama made her a household name again, but not for the right reasons. Hollywood loves a star, but it fears controversy, and Jada's name became synonymous with it, making studios hesitant to cast her in leading roles. Number 11. Keke Palmer. Keke Palmer burst onto the scene as one of Hollywood's most promising young stars. From her breakout role in Akeelah and the Bee to hosting her own Nickelodeon show and starring in films like Hustlers and Nope, she proved early on that she could do it all: act, sing, host, and even perform on Broadway. Her infectious charm and undeniable talent made her a fan favorite, and for years, it seemed like nothing could stand in her way. But behind the spotlight, Hollywood wasn't giving her the same recognition it gave her peers. Despite her accomplishments, Keke found herself constantly underestimated. While stars like Zendaya were being praised as the faces of a new generation, Keke noticed the industry didn't celebrate her achievements the same way. She spoke out about how colorism played a role in who gets spotlighted and who gets sidelined in Hollywood. Though she continued to work steadily, her sharp honesty and boldness made some in the industry hesitate. For many decision-makers, Keke wasn't just an actress. She was a voice calling out the system itself. Her biggest blunder, if you can call it that, wasn't scandal, but fearlessness. Keke never stayed silent about the challenges she faced, and while fans applauded her courage, Hollywood power players often prefer stars who avoid controversy. By speaking up about inequality and pushing back against typecasting, she set herself apart, but also made herself a harder fit for Hollywood's traditional mold. Though she's still thriving through her own projects and platforms, her career proves that even incredible talent can be dimmed when you refuse to play by the industry's rules. Number 12. Tisha Campbell. Tisha Campbell was once the queen of television comedy. Audiences adored her as Gina on the hit sitcom Martin and later as the witty, loving mom in My Wife and Kids. For years, she was a staple of black television households, bringing warmth, humor, and unforgettable energy to every role. Her talent was undeniable, and she seemed destined to remain a fixture in Hollywood for decades. But as the years passed, the spotlight on Tisha began to fade. Despite her long career, Tisha struggled to land the kind of starring roles she once enjoyed. Hollywood's brutal ageism, especially toward black women, meant opportunities grew scarcer as she got older. Instead of being the leading lady, she was pushed into smaller parts and guest appearances. While she stayed consistently busy with shows like Empire and Uncoupled, her presence didn't carry the same weight it once did, leaving fans wondering why such a beloved star wasn't at the top anymore. Tisha's biggest blunders weren't public scandals, but the result of an unforgiving industry. Her personal struggles, including her divorce and financial troubles, sometimes made headlines overshadowing her career. Hollywood often punishes vulnerability, and Tisha's openness about her hardships made her an easy target for gossip rather than celebration. Instead of being recognized for her resilience and decades of talent, she became another example of how quickly Hollywood moves on from the very stars who once built its success. Number 13. Darius McCrary. Darius McCrary was once a household name, forever remembered as Eddie Winslow, the cool and charismatic older brother on the classic sitcom Family Matters. For nearly a decade, audiences watched him grow up on screen, and his charm made him one of the show's most beloved characters. With his talent and popularity, Many expected Darius to transition into bigger Hollywood roles once the series ended. But instead of soaring higher, his career slowly began to stall. After Family Matters, Darius struggled to escape the shadow of Eddie Winslow. Hollywood typecasting made it nearly impossible for him to prove himself beyond the role that made him famous. While he continued to work in smaller films, guest spots, and even voice acting, like playing jazz in Michael Bay's Transformers, he never managed to reclaim the spotlight in a major way. Audiences remembered him, but Hollywood didn't seem to know where to place him. The real blunders came from his personal life, which often grabbed more attention than his acting. Reports of unpaid child support and legal troubles painted him as unreliable in the eyes of studios. Instead of being known for his talent, Darius became the subject of tabloid stories, which overshadowed his career. For Hollywood, reliability is everything, and those missteps made him a risky bet for big projects. What should have been a smooth rise from TV star to Hollywood staple instead became a cautionary tale of how quickly fame can slip away. Number 14. Brandy Norwood. Brandy Norwood wasn't just a star, she was a cultural phenomenon. Bursting into fame in the 90s, she dominated both music and television. With her chart-topping R&B hits and her iconic role in the sitcom Moesha, Brandy became a voice of a generation. She even made history as the first black actress to play Cinderella in a major production, inspiring countless young fans. For a while, it seemed like Brandy had the world at her feet, with the talent to balance both a thriving music and acting career. But as time went on, Hollywood's attention drifted elsewhere. Despite her immense talent, Brandy's acting opportunities began to shrink. While she occasionally appeared in TV shows and movies, she never regained the same leading presence she had during her prime. Hollywood is known for discarding stars once the spotlight fades, and Brandy's career was no exception. She found herself more celebrated for her past accomplishments than for current opportunities, forcing her to reinvent herself to stay relevant. The blunders that haunted Brandy's career were both personal and public. The tragic car accident in 2006 that resulted in the death of another driver weighed heavily on her public image, even though she wasn't criminally charged. The incident, along with long breaks from music and acting, made it harder for her to fully bounce back in Hollywood's eyes. While Brandy continues to work and inspire fans, the industry hasn't fully welcomed her back as the leading force she once was, proving how quickly the entertainment world can move on, no matter how iconic the star. Number 15. Tyrese Gibson. Tyrese Gibson rose from R&B stardom to Hollywood fame, quickly becoming one of the most recognizable faces in blockbuster films. Fans loved him as Roman Pierce in the Fast and Furious franchise, where his comedic timing and charm made him unforgettable. He also proved his dramatic chops in movies like Baby Boy and Four Brothers, showing he wasn't just another action sidekick. He was a real talent with range. For years, it looked like Tyrese had the perfect balance of music, acting, and stardom. But then, the cracks began to show. Despite his success, Tyrese's off-screen life started to overshadow his career. Public feuds, emotional social media posts, and his infamous fallout with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson turned him into a source of controversy. Instead of being known for his acting, Tyrese became the guy whose online meltdowns and very public custody battles made headlines. Hollywood, wary of unpredictable behavior, began to step back, and his career momentum slowed down outside of the Fast and Furious films. The biggest blunders came from his own words and actions. His bitter feud with The Rock, accusing him of breaking up the franchise, burned bridges with both co-stars and studios. His viral breakdown during his custody battle, where he cried on camera and shouted, "What more do you want from me?" became a meme that damaged his credibility even further. While Tyrese is still part of major franchises, these very public missteps left a lasting stain on his reputation, proving how quickly Hollywood can turn its back when drama overshadows talent. Number 16. Taye Diggs. Taye Diggs was once the undisputed heartthrob of Black Hollywood. With breakout roles in How Stella Got Her Groove Back, Brown Sugar, and The Best Man, he became the go-to leading man for romantic dramas and comedies. His charm, smooth delivery, and undeniable chemistry with co-stars made him a favorite with audiences and cemented his place as one of the most bankable stars of the late 90s and early 2000s. For a while, it seemed like Taye would stay on top forever. But the Hollywood spotlight has a way of shifting, and Taye's time in the center began to dim as Hollywood moved away from romantic comedies. Taye's signature genre, the roles that once came so easily, started to dry up. While he transitioned to television with shows like Private Practice and All American, he wasn't getting the same level of big-screen attention he once enjoyed. Studios, always hungry for the next fresh face, seemed to push Taye to the side, leaving him caught between TV success and fading movie stardom. The real blunder wasn't scandal, but Hollywood's changing taste mixed with typecasting. Taye was so strongly associated with the suave, romantic lead that once the demand for those roles dropped, he struggled to rebrand himself in a way that matched his talent. While he's kept busy with stage work and smaller projects, his career highlights remain tied to an earlier era. For many, Taye Diggs became a reminder of Hollywood's fleeting loyalty. Once you're no longer the trend, even a star of his caliber can find himself overlooked. Number 17. Marcus T. Paulk. Marcus T. Paulk was once a rising star with a bright future in Hollywood. Best known as Miles Mitchell, the adorable little brother on Moshe, he charmed audiences with his wit and lovable personality. Growing up in front of millions, Marcus seemed perfectly positioned to transition from child star into a successful adult actor. With his early fame and undeniable talent, many believed he was destined for long-term success. But like so many young stars, his career took a turn no one expected. As he grew older, Marcus struggled to shed his child star image. While he landed roles in films like Roll Bounce and Take the Lead, they didn't catapult him to the next level of stardom. Hollywood quickly shifted its attention to new faces, and Marcus found himself fading from the spotlight. Instead of leading man roles, his career became defined by sporadic appearances and projects that failed to gain traction. The blunders that hurt Marcus the most came from his personal life. He faced legal troubles, including charges related to domestic violence and reckless driving, which made headlines for all the wrong reasons. These incidents overshadowed his acting talent and made him a risky choice for casting directors. What should have been a smooth rise from child actor to adult star turned into yet another cautionary tale of how poor decisions and personal scandals can derail even the most promising careers. Number 18, Mo'Nique. Mo'Nique was once on top of the entertainment world. She first won hearts as a comedian and sitcom star, then shocked Hollywood with her powerhouse performance in Precious, which earned her an Academy Award. For a moment, she stood shoulder to shoulder with the industry's most celebrated actresses, proving she had the range to go from comedy queen to dramatic powerhouse. Fans and critics alike believed her Oscar win would open doors to endless opportunities. But instead, her career took one of the most unexpected downturns in Hollywood history. Rather than being flooded with offers, Mo'Nique found herself at odds with powerful figures in the industry. She openly spoke about being blackballed after refusing to campaign for Precious without additional pay, a stance that clashed with Hollywood's unspoken rules. What should have been her golden era turned into years of silence from major studios. Despite her immense talent, Mo'Nique was quietly pushed aside while her peers continued to flourish. Her biggest blunder wasn't a scandal, but her willingness to call out Hollywood's politics. She publicly clashed with heavyweights like Oprah Winfrey, Lee Daniels, and Tyler Perry, accusing them of unfair treatment and backroom dealings. While many fans applauded her honesty, Hollywood saw her as difficult, a label that can destroy careers overnight. Though Mo'Nique has recently made a slow comeback, the damage from those feuds kept her sidelined for years, showing how standing up for yourself in Hollywood can come at a steep price. Number 19. Raven-Symoné. Raven-Symoné was once Disney Channel royalty. From her early start on The Cosby Show to becoming the lead in That's So Raven, she became one of the most recognizable child stars of her generation. Her comedic timing, vibrant personality, and natural talent made her a household name. For a while, it looked like Raven would smoothly transition from child stardom into a long-lasting Hollywood career. But instead, her rise slowed down in ways fans didn't expect. As she got older, Raven found it difficult to escape her Disney image. While she took on projects like The View and reprised her role in Raven's Home, she wasn't landing the big Hollywood films or dramatic roles that might have elevated her career to the next level. Hollywood often struggles with child stars growing up, and for Raven, that transition was especially tough. She remained beloved by fans, but the industry seemed reluctant to cast her outside of family-friendly roles. Her career missteps weren't just about typecasting. Her outspoken opinions also made waves. During her time on The View, Raven made controversial statements that sparked backlash and alienated parts of her fan base. Instead of being celebrated for her talent, headlines often focused on her remarks, overshadowing her acting. While she's still working and maintaining her Disney legacy, Hollywood's interest in casting her in major new roles has faded, leaving Raven as a reminder of how hard it is to grow beyond the child star box. Number 20, Jussie Smollett. Jussie Smollett was once seen as one of Hollywood's brightest rising stars. His role as Jamal Lyon on the hit series Empire made him a fan favorite, praised for both his acting and his powerful singing voice. Jussie wasn't just talented, he was also admired for the representation he brought to television, giving audiences a strong, authentic portrayal of a gay black man in mainstream media. For a while, it seemed like his career was only going to soar higher. But in 2019, everything changed. At the peak of his success, Jussie became embroiled in one of the biggest scandals in recent Hollywood history. He claimed to have been the victim of a hate crime, but as investigations unfolded, authorities accused him of staging the attack himself. The shocking twist dominated headlines, overshadowing his work and destroying his credibility. Almost overnight, Jussie went from celebrated actor to one of the most controversial figures in entertainment. The blunder was catastrophic. Jussie was written out of Empire, faced criminal charges, and became the subject of national ridicule. Hollywood, an industry built on image and trust, completely distanced itself from him. What could have been a long, successful career was derailed by one devastating choice. Today, Jussie Smollett stands as an example of how one decision, fueled by ego and miscalculation, can erase years of hard-earned success in an instant.